Welcome to episode 49 of the show with no name. I'm your humble host, Nick, and today we're going to be exploring a really old cemetery out here by the ocean in San Juan, Puerto Rico. When I first made it here, I was completely overwhelmed by the sheer size of this cemetery. I didn't even know if I was going to be able to completely document this cemetery like I'd like to document the old pioneer cemeteries back at home, just because there was so many headstones here. It was just absolutely incredible, as you can see. Another thing that threw me off balance about coming to this cemetery was just the sheer humidity of the area, being so close to the ocean here. It really threw me off and sapped my energy the first couple days I came out here to explore this cemetery. I've been doing some studies on this cemetery, and I'm gonna get right into some of the history of this area right now. I'm going to talk about a man now who, in my opinion, is probably the greatest Puerto Rican to ever live. He went by the name of Pedro Albizu Campos, and he was born September 12th, 1891, and he passed away April 21st, 1965. He was a Puerto Rican politician and attorney, and the leading figure in the Puerto Rican independence movement. He was a man that was very gifted in languages, seeing how he spoke 6 of them. He graduated from Harvard Law School with the highest grade point average in his law class, an achievement that earned him the right to give the valedictorian speech at his graduation ceremony. However, animosity towards his mixed racial heritage led to his professors delaying 2 of his final exams in order to keep him from graduating on time. During his time at the university, he became involved in the Irish struggle for independence as well. He was also the president and spokesperson of the Nationalist Party of Puerto Rico from 1930 until his death in 1965. Because of his speaking skills, he was held as the teacher by many Puerto Ricans. He was imprisoned for 26 years for attempting to overthrow the United States government in Puerto Rico in the year 1950. He planned and called for an armed uprising in several cities in Puerto Rico. Afterwards, he was convicted and imprisoned again. He died in 1965, shortly after his pardon and release from federal prison, sometime after suffering a stroke. There's controversy over his medical treatment there while in prison. I believe this guy was a hero for everything he did to try to fight for his people, his culture, and his independence. And I think it's something we can all look up to ourselves when it comes to our own cultures, people, and independence. And he deserves to be honored in this episode. Here's his headstone here, where he's been laid to rest. He was a great and important man, and I'm glad to have learned about the history of him to give me a better perspective of Puerto Rico and what it's like being here. I'd just like to say thank you to him. I want to talk about another famous man that was buried out here, and he went by the name of Pedro Salinas. And he was born November 27th, 1891, and he died on December 4th, 1951. He was a Spanish poet and a member of the Generation of 27, as well as a university teacher, a scholar, and a literary critic. In 1937, he delivered the Turnbull Lectures at Johns Hopkins University. These were later published under the title Reality and the Poet in Spanish History. This man contributed a lot to the language arts here in Puerto Rico, and he was very important here for doing that. This is his headstone here, where he finally laid to rest. Now I'm going to be talking about another famous person I found buried here, and he went by the name of Raphael Hernandez. And he was born October 24th, 1892, and he died on December 11th, 1965. He was a Puerto Rican songwriter and author of hundreds of popular songs in the Latin American repertoire. He was born in Puerto Rico to a poor family, and as a child he learned the craft of cigar making, from which he earned a modest living. He also grew to love music, and at the age of 12 he began to study music full-time. He learned to play many instruments, including the clarinet, the tuba, the violin, the piano, and the guitar. During World War I, Raphael and his brother Jesus, along with 16 other Puerto Ricans, were recruited to join the United States Army's Harlem Hellfighters musical band. He enlisted and was assigned to the 369th Infantry Regiment. The 369th Infantry Regiment served in France and was awarded medals in France for battlefield gallantry by the President of France himself. He would go on after the war to produce more than 3,000 compositions, and he was the founder of the Little League Baseball in Puerto Rico before his death. I hope you enjoy the rest of the videos I have of this awesome cemetery here in Puerto Rico. This is only part 1 of 4 of this cemetery, and there is plenty of visuals and history to come. Thank you.